Hello again, 240. In this video, I will conclude Chapter 8, Sports in an Age of Ballyhoo, Depression, and War, with the story of Seabiscuit, sports star for the Depression era. Despite the many top-notch athletes who performed during the Great Depression, it is intriguing to note that arguably the most popular sports figure of this era was a horse. During the latter years of the 1930s, an undersized, knobby-kneed thoroughbred by the name of Seabiscuit captured the affection of the American people by overcoming many obstacles to win several memorable races. The improbable saga of the People's Racehorse has been eloquently captured by author Laura Hillenbrand and is the subject of a popular motion picture released in 2003. If attendance can be considered a determining factor, thoroughbred racing was one of the most popular sports in America in the 2 decades between the wars. Attendance at racetracks during this period fluctuated between 3 and 6 million, rivaling baseball. The primary attraction, of course, was the possibility of hitting a big payday on a $2 bet. The reputation of horse racing had fluctuated over the years, remaining popular in the South, but often becoming the target of anti-gambling crusaders elsewhere, under relentless anti-gambling pressures. Except for some notable tracks such as Churchill Downs in Louisville, where the Kentucky Derby takes place, and Pimlico Race Course in Baltimore, the site of the Preakness Stakes, more on that in a moment, most racetracks had closed by the late 19th century. During the heyday of progressive reform movement during the early 20th century, matters got worse when legislatures in such prominent racing states as California, Illinois, and New York passed anti-gambling laws. After the First World War, however, legislators took a careful look at a new betting system recently imported from France, the pari-mutuel system, which assured the authorizing government a guaranteed percentage of each and every dollar bet on every race, approximately 15 to 18%. That's quite a return, ladies and gentlemen. Legislatures recognized pari-mutuel as a means of increasing state revenues without having to pass new taxes. No brainer. Racetracks essentially became partners with state governments, which greatly alleviated the persistent fear of fixed races. Leading the way was Churchill Downs in Louisville, located near the heart of thoroughbred horse country. Local businessman and marketing expert Matt Wynn saved the hard-pressed racetrack from closing down when he took over management in 1902 and created a special aura surrounding the Kentucky Derby. In 1911, he introduced pari-mutuel betting that increased confidence that races were not being manipulated by trackside bookmakers. During the 1920s, legislators in several states took notice of the Kentucky success story and voted to legalize pari-mutuel betting. State racing boards operated the system, which meant that private bookmakers were banished from the tracks. State racing boards added to public confidence by appointing stewards to oversee track operations. By 1940, more than a dozen states had embraced state-sanctioned trackside pari-mutuel betting, including Maryland, Illinois, Florida, Louisiana, California, and New York. Horse racing consequently enjoyed a major resurgence during the 1920s, and its popularity remained high throughout the Great Depression. The Triple Crown, so named for 3-year-old horses that captured the Kentucky Derby, the Preakness, and the Belmont Stakes, which is held in New York, became a powerful narrative when Gallant Fox won all 3 races in 1930. The original Triple Crown winner was Sir Barton in 1919, and fans thrilled to Triple Crowns won by Omaha in 35, War Admiral in 1937, and Whirlaway in 1941. And then Count Fleet in 1943 will take the crown, Assault in 46, and Citation in 1948. And after this, there is a 25-year drought between Triple Crown winners. Secretariat will break this drought in 1973, followed by undefeated Seattle Slew in 1977, and then affirmed in 1978. It was considered to be another golden age of thoroughbred horse racing. Spectacular Bid lost the Triple Crown bid in 1979 with Stevie Cawthon aboard when he lost the Belmont. After this, there is a 37-year drought between Triple Crown winners until American Pharoah just recently in 2015 and in 2018, Justify also took the Triple Crown. It's only been done 13 times. It was in this context that the improbable story of Seabiscuit, the little horse that could, became a major sports story of the Depression years. In 1935, the 2-year-old performed so poorly that his famous trainer, Sonny Jim Fitzsimmons, did not enter him in any of the Triple Crown races the following year. And that usually the Triple Crown races are for 3-year-olds. Despite his rich heritage, he was descended from the incomparable Man of War, a famous 1920s horse. His sire was the handsomely sculpted hardtack. Seabiscuit was undersized and built on stubby legs that would not fully straighten, forcing him to run in a manner that many compared to a waddling duck. His appearance, Hillenbrand writes, gave no indication of his special lineage and had all the properties of a cinder block. In 1936, Seabiscuit was sold for a mere $7,500 to San Francisco automobile dealer Charles Howard, who had no prior experience in the unique culture of horse racing. He hired an unknown trainer, Tom Smith, whose career up to this point had been unspectacular despite his instinctive ability to get the best out of a cantankerous horse, or horses. Smith hired Red Pollard, an unproven jockey with little big-time racing experience. Under Tom Smith's gentle prodding, Seabiscuit began to show promise, and soon he was winning races at California tracks. Racing fans began to take notice of this undersized thoroughbred with the ungainly stride but powerful finish. Seabiscuit's popularity spread as racing fans recognized that the improbable team of Howard, Smith, Pollard, and an undersized horse no one wanted was a fitting metaphor for their own struggles during the Great Depression. In November 1938, this small horse with a big heart was transported to the East Coast to challenge the 1937 Triple Crown winner in a match race. War Admiral, also descended from Man of War, exuded the perfect image of a thoroughbred: tall, sleek, glistening, perfectly proportioned, and high-spirited. Most of the experts were hidebound Easterners, and few gave the upstart from California with the funny gait any chance. Each of the racing form handicapping experts picked War Admiral, as did 95% of sports writers. The race took place on War Admiral's own turf at Pimlico Racecourse in Maryland. Millions of Americans listened to radio announcer Clem McCarthy make the call. In what everyone conceded was an enormous upset victory, Seabiscuit won by 4 lengths going away, despite having a substitute jockey due to the multiple broken bones and life-threatening internal injuries suffered by Red Pollard when he was thrown from a horse during a workout. Like so many Americans who had braved the Great Depression with courage and determination, Seabiscuit and his handlers had overcome great obstacles. In 1938, the small horse with the big heart received more news coverage than President Franklin Roosevelt. In 1940, Seabiscuit went to the starting gate for the last time in the $100,000 Santa Anita handicap. Red Pollard was aboard, although a badly shattered leg had not fully healed. In a thrilling 12-horse race, Pollard expertly guided Seabiscuit from behind, bursting through a narrow opening in a cluster of horses bunched at the head of the home stretch to win a stunning victory before 85,000 spectators. It would be Seabiscuit's last race. And there he goes between the horses, and Pollard brings Seabiscuit home to victory in the Santa Anita handicap. And this image is from Bettman Corbis. And as he applauded and cheered on the way to the winner's circle, Seabiscuit pranced and preened for the crowd, and Pollard later recalled, "Don't think he didn't know he was the hero."